Hi, I'm Doug McKenzie from Fintech Finance, and we're here today in the City of London to have a deep dive on the journey to accessing real-time payments. What's it like, how easy it is, and how critical it is for financial institutions and services companies alike to get on board with this scheme. Accompanying us this week is Starling Bank, Bottomline Technologies, and Clearbank. So let's meet our interviewees. So how has the payments infrastructure around the world changed over the last couple of years?
People are looking back to the UK and we're seeing things like the faster payments network and how that works jurisdictionally. So we're seeing that in different jurisdictions across the globe. Again, it all falls back to that real-time nature, real-time connectivity kind of piece. So if you look at Australia, we've got a fast payment network that's now up and running, maturing quite nicely. In Europe, we've had instant SEPA and tips. We're starting to get that kind of experience again now across Europe. But faster payments really was kind of leading the edge, leading the way there. I think what we're going to find is infrastructure across the globe following that kind of, again, that real-time necessity.
One of the things we were really concerned about was that we would have this amazing customer experience, this amazing app, and then we would be sitting behind a mainframe from Barclays or RBS or whoever. And therefore we would go from something that was really, really super fast to something that was slow, something out of our control, and something that wasn't real time. So we know that we want to notify customers instantly when any payment or any event happens, so we've built that in. You can imagine some of the incumbent banks have put the notifications in at the end of the process, they've tacked it on to the end of a payment flow. We've put it right in the middle of the payment flow, which is critically important. So for us, that real time is absolutely critical for our customers, and we think it's a complete differentiator against a number of other incumbents and other fintechs.
Can you give me a bit of a background on the significance of real-time payments in the financial services industry?
Sure. Real-time is now becoming more and more ubiquitous. We're 2019, we started back in the UK back in 2008. So we've had over a decade of experience in this area. So as the world digitalizes, expectations are going up, things should be here, right now, available, whether they're balances, whether they're payments. So yeah, real-time's come front and center of financial services in terms of servicing customers.
It seems very obvious now in 2019 to assume that that's the way it should be. What's been holding it back? Why has it never been that way at first?
I think it's taken time to develop. So as the 10 years have come through in the UK example, there were some others around the world before, but we're fairly much first towards real-time payments globally. We've developed more sophisticated solutions. So we've now got a number of direct access solutions to faster payments. We've got indirect solutions to faster payments. So faster payments as a service, you might badge it. So over time, because these are critical national infrastructures, there's been a certain conservative approach to make sure it's right and it's resilient and it's working at sort of 5 nines availability. So people are happy that the payments are going where they should be, on time, every time.
How critical is it for financial institutions or fintechs to really get that access to real-time payments?
So I think it comes back down to customer experience, customer outcomes. We both work in a world now where you want real-time access. If you're going through a traditional route with clearing or your stuff's been batched up, you'll find that actually even at the best you're looking at 20 minutes before your transaction goes through. But how many times do you actually send a transaction? I do it to my mum all the time, right? I send her a transaction, phone her and say, Mum, that's in your bank account now, or WhatsApp her. And you expect it there and then. Likewise, if you're making a payment for any sort of bill, I pay it there and then and done. I don't expect a 3-day clearing cycle. And I definitely expect it to be working on the weekend. What really annoys me is when you look at the marketplace right now, have lots of fintechs and institutions out there who kind of get a second-class citizen experience. Comes to Friday at 6 o'clock and you make a transaction and it doesn't actually clear and settle until Monday. How can that be? It's 2019 now. And when you look at things like Christmas holidays or Easter over that time period, that could be Thursday at 5, right the way through to Tuesday at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. So that's quite a big gap. That's definitely an experience. You're not getting that real-time nature. So we wanted to say, no, it's 24/7, away you go. You use it Saturday, Sunday, whenever you want, and payment will be processed in real time. So we call it indirect access, but it's all the benefits of being directly connected, being your own clearer, but without the capital needs, without the price overheads, without the operational overheads, without the technical infrastructure you need to put in place, and it's delivered as software as a service. And that's what I think has been really quite revolutionary or disruptive, let's say disruptive, in the marketplace right now.
As a SME owner, I remember when starting, there was always that morning and then every sort of few hours checking your bank balance to see, oh, have I been paid here? But you seem to have been taken that real-time element, particularly when it comes to payments. What's kind of the approach with real-time notifications and real-time payments in the business?
Well, I once ran this SME. That SME was called Starling. Okay. So I know all about running a small business as we were then, and needing the sort of working capital management tools that you get from a bank or didn't get from your bank. With a smartphone, as a small business owner, you can have all your notifications you can have directly to your phone, and you can run multiple businesses on that phone as well. And I run my businesses on my smartphone, and when we get paid or when we pay suppliers, I get notifications there and then. I use the Starling Bank app in order to tell me when we pay our suppliers. No other bank will offer us that service. Yeah, so Starling uses Starling.
You get a notification on your phone before the receipt comes out. How do you think that any sort of traditional bank would be able to, with their current sort of legacy, be able to do anything at all like that, or would they have to effectively build a speedboat from scratch?
Well, I spent a long time working in traditional banks. You know, I started as a computer scientist in the early 80s working for the big banks. And I had a long career, and you know, many of those legacy systems, I'm afraid I built, okay? But the time was right to start from scratch. I had to do it. I had a whole list of things that were wrong with existing infrastructure. It was very, very difficult to migrate from where we were to where we need to be. And that's why I quit my job to start a new bank called Starling. But nowadays, we're able to deliver all these new features. We're able to do international payments, domestic payments. You can have euro accounts, you can have domestic currency accounts in sterling, you can have joint accounts, sole trader accounts, business accounts, and you can do all that business on your app.
Next, we hear about the onboarding process for faster payments, the hoops that modern institutions will have to jump through just to stay up to date with customer needs.
10 years ago, the onboarding process into the faster payments scheme was quite heavy projects, big Gantt charts that people had to follow through and be checked piece by piece. Those rigorous checks are still in place, but now we have a new access model that's a lot lighter, or at the lightest entry point, an indirect model, real-time payment express, where actually it's all done as a service. So that means sandbox, access to our sandbox, how to consume the API, up and running with penny testing, contracts, the flow of funds. And actually it's much faster now in this digital world to actually get access to real-time payments.
At Starling, we built our infrastructure from scratch. I'd spent a long time in traditional banking. I was serving very large companies and small companies and individuals. And I knew very well if we were going to build a new bank, you'd have to have really new, exciting infrastructure that allow businesses to grow the way they want to grow. And we have a full set of APIs, so that means that customers, big and small, can interface with us using those APIs and actually instructing us to make payments on their behalf. And that means that we can really speed up the working capital of these small businesses.
I think if you look at real-time payments, I think that there's two really interesting parts here. There's one which is the Starling part, which is it's just doing things quicker, and people expect, particularly our customers would expect things to be instant. The second part, which I think is the really interesting piece, is when you go, what could this do? So we have a number of clients in our banking services division which are looking at doing payroll differently. So let us assume that you work in a coffee shop, you are on flexible hours, you may have other jobs as well. Why do you have to wait a month to get paid? Why aren't you paid at the end of your first week, a quarter of your salary? Because that would help a lot of people manage their money. It would mean that they wouldn't have to go to payday lending. There's no reason why we're paid monthly. Well, the reason is because payroll systems or or the banking process, but we'll slow that down, and typically a lot of salaries are paid on BACS, which is a 3-day cycle. But if you've got instant faster payments, we have a number of clients now that are doing payments instantly. And so therefore, what that does is it transforms industries to be able to pay people differently. There's no reason why you can't be paid daily now. If the store manager says, yes, you've worked your 8 hours, they could sign it off on an iPad and the money's in your account as you're walking out of the store. Why can't we do that?
Bottomline is having a lot of success with a lot of the new coming banks and organisations that are looking to access these networks and settlement systems. So we offer all of the different models for faster payments, whether it's direct or indirect, participating, non-participating. And we have a team of SMEs based in London that can help the onboarding process.
With 30 years of experience, Bottomline Technologies explained their approach to partnering with incumbent banks and speeding up payment processing.
One thing that came out very recently, which has caused a lot of interest, is our new tracking solution. So on the latest solution sets, you can track exactly where the payment is, has it arrived, and that's helped the risk managers in organisations to understand that you can move to real-time payments and not worry so much about the real-time fraud that could be pulled through, because the controls are there with the increased speed.
What's another reason why Bottomline is the best partner for this journey, outside of the payment side of things?
Well, a lot of the feedback we have from our customers is around the extra pieces we do. So the real-time access is very important, and it's the core piece to actually stabilise, and we offer all the different models. But beyond that, we have a series of fraud and sanctions checking solutions that we offer, and a number of cash management wraparound services that again gives control to the users of our solution. So as a bundle, we find that proves very successful in the market for partnering long term over these type of payment solutions.
And obviously you work with a lot of new companies, so of course you're looking to help them grow, because of course growing at the same rate.
Yeah, and one of our sweet spots is working with the newcomers to the industry, because our solution can offer various different offerings around cash management and fraud checking and real-time access. You only plug into one organisation like ourselves, and they can move into BACS in the UK, direct debits, faster payments, SWIFT, SEPA payments, and very recently the B2B Visa Connect network. So all these different networks are accessible through just one Bottomline SCART socket, if you like.
It's mad to think that even in 2019, real-time payments aren't the norm. So it's been incredible to hear from our interviewees about the journey they embarked on to set a new technological standard. For everything else, FinTech, RegTech, PayTech and more, you can catch the rest of our episodes online at www.fintech.finance. Thanks for watching.